looks like fun. Let's move to this now. The International Literacy Day was celebrated earlier this week. However, people in Limpopo had nothing to celebrate. Now, all libraries managed by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture have been closed since March last year. Only those that fall under municipalities are open. Moatshe, the Chief Director at the Limpopo Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, joins us now to discuss this. Mr. Moatshe, pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Now, before we get to the nub of the problems plaguing libraries in Limpopo, just explain to us the significance of celebrating International Literacy Day.
Well, it's very important that, good afternoon to your viewers and yourselves. It's very important that we celebrate International Literacy Day because, as you would know, Limpopo is predominantly rural, and we are moving towards a stage where, with our libraries, we are able to advantage our rural communities and schools to have access to literary material in order that they should improve their standing in society. You will also be aware that annually we have districts in the Limpopo province which does very well in terms of their matric results, and we are quite aware that we are assisting in this area through our libraries that we provide in the different districts. Thank you.
Now, there's also a worrying finding that shows that there are a high number of women who are illiterate compared to men. As a department, what have you noted in this regard?
Well, the province is predominantly rural, and we're quite aware that we are still trapped in the world of patriarchy. And as a province, we're doing everything possible to try and move out of that the disadvantage of women. And we are also assisting in our programs that we take to the schools. We are also ensuring that through our annual literary awards that we give to, we run through the different schools. We help and we encourage that the girl child should stay within the education framework so that it then changes the setup in terms of the academic framework of the province.
I want us to now address the issue that was raised in my intro now about a number of libraries still remaining closed since the outbreak began last year. Can you explain to us why this is the case?
Well, closed would be a bit taking it a bit too far. What happened, as you know, it's needless to explain that under lockdown level 5, alert level 5 and 4, all activities were stopped. Access to libraries became one of them, and libraries were closed. And before we could reopen libraries, we had to undertake a specific compliance program, which meant that we had to compile compliance files to make sure that all the necessary protocols are being followed before we open libraries. And currently, as we speak, all the libraries, I should say, within the province, which are falling under the department, are in the process of being opened because we have done everything that we could. We have compiled the compliance files through our risk division. We are making sure that all the compliance issues are met, and we have set a target that by end of this month, September, we should have all the libraries fully opened and accessible.
But also worrying is a report I'm reading here that says a number of libraries are still closed and some permanently, particularly in rural areas. Can you please just explain this to us or verify if this report is indeed true?
That would be far from the truth, because I should say that unless if we are privileged with the libraries that are being referred to, because as far as we are concerned, all the libraries in the province are receiving attention with regard to compliance matters, and those libraries which are closed are probably libraries which from time to time we do have outbreaks and they are being reported, and then we then temporarily request that the necessary decontamination and fumigation should happen in the library. So it could be a temporary arrangement in a week or so where the library remains closed, but we are not going to allow our people to move into a library when the compliance matters have not been met in full.
All right. And let's go back to our earlier conversation about us celebrating Literacy Week last week. And let's speak about the government's efforts in the province to curb illiteracy. Speak to us about some of the programs that you're running.
Well, in the department, one of the units that we have is the languages division, the unit in languages that deals with issues of access to educational material for the young ones. We are currently in the process of creating and finalizing an MOU with the Department of Education, where as a department we are bringing in our part in terms of the issues of language, in terms of the issues of arts in schools. We are also ensuring that through many of our programs on the APP, the Annual Performance Plan, we work that with the Department of Education, and we have access to the schools. We are aware that the issue of art in schools is very important. The issue of sport in schools is very important, and that's why we have agreed that we should have this MOU finalized in the shorter space of time between the Department of Education and Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, working together to realize the issue of advancement of literacy in the province.
That's Mr. Mike Moatshe there, telling us a bit more about the Limpopo government's activities and also speaking to us about worrying concerns that have come up that a number of rural libraries are permanently being closed. He says that is not true, but also says that the department is making an effort to ensure that as many libraries are open, although